The day has finally come. Welcome, everyone. And I know you guys have been begging me to drop the deck list into my past two videos. So here it is. For those of you who are waiting for it, just pause the video, take a screenshot, and do whatever you gotta do. So I'm just gonna go back here and welcome all the new people who found this video because it's been recommended by YouTube, or you're just trying to learn a new leader for OP08 that's coming out in about a week. So welcome everyone. This is our first masterclass that I'm going to be doing, and it's for Black Purple King. Now I'm very confident that I've learned the playstyle of this leader here. So if you're new to One Piece TCG, or you just want to try out the new leader for OP08, you've come to the right place. And I'm gonna try my best to explain and give you as much information as I can by playing this leader here. So here's the deck list. I'm running mostly big bodies here, bodies that have removals. So for example, the Charlotte Linlin, the 9-cost Charlotte Linlin, who is brand new. I'm playing 2 copies of that one. I'm playing 2 copies of Rush Kaido, 2 copies of Kuzan. Now Kuzan is your engine for this deck, but I'm only playing two copies of him. So I feel like having 3 Kuzans is a bit too much. That's why I have 1 copy of Isho. Isho is really good in the meta right now because a lot of decks are playing like a big hand size. So if you just drop Isho in your 3rd turn, or whenever you have 8 nons, then you would have like a good momentum in the game. I'm playing 8-cost Sabo, 2 copies of it. 3 copies of Jack, the new Jack, the 7-cost one, and the rest are pretty self-explanatory here. I'm playing 2 copies of Bond Clay. The reason why is for the yellow matchups. Oh, sorry, not yellow, purple matchups. They tend to drop big bodies the same time as I do. That's why I just wanna drop that Bond Clay, get the active Dawn from its online on play effect, and get a swing out of it, because this is a like a very heavy tall deck, I should say. So if you're gonna swing tall, then you want to swing as much as you can, like as tall as you can. Sanji, the 2k counter Sanji, the blocker, he's really doing a lot of work for me here. Yeah, that's why I'm playing 4 copies of it. Queen, very good filter card. He is searchable as well. I'm playing 2 Suru's mainly for 2k counter, Sabo for the black matchups. I feel like I should play more copies of Sabo, but I need to play around with the deck, and it's kind of hard to adjust and take out cards, because pretty much all of these cards in here are they have a good ratio for me. They are working really well for me. I think at the end of the day, it's just a matter of like how you mulligan your opening hand, and that's how you just gain momentum from it. I do have 7 searchers. That's gonna be the 1-cost Queen, 4 copies of it, and 3 copies of we will take the One Piece, or something like that, the event card. I do have 2 Ice Age as well, just in case I can't put down my Kuzan and I'm really struggling for cards to negate. But yeah, most of the time once I drop the Kuzan or the Isho, this Ice Age is just a card that I would just discard because of the like, because you're gonna be playing a lot of cards that needs discarding for you to activate their effect. So yeah, so this is my deck list right here. If you want to excuse me, if you want to see how well it will work on on a real gameplay, you can just go back to 2 of my previous videos, and yeah, there's just a lot of gameplays in there. Okay, so for those of you who are new into this game or planning to use this leader, here's the strength and weaknesses of the deck. So let's start with the strength first. It is a very fast deck because of the stage. It is a control and removal deck. So if you like that playstyle, I think this deck will work really well for you. Drawing capabilities. I've done a video of how you can draw as much as you can with Guilty Sorrow, but I don't feel like this is the best way to play this leader. But if that's your style, then please feel free to create a deck where you would be just like drawing a lot of cards. I do have a video of that one, so if you just want to check my channel, there should be a guide on how to play Guilty Sorrow in this deck. So it plays the Searcher as well. You know, decks who have Searchers mostly wins the game because they can set up the next few turns or the next curve. So having a Searcher is a really good way to you know, build a deck. I've played RP Law last set, or like I should say this set, because we're still in OP07, and he doesn't have any Searcher, and now he's banned. So coming in from a deck that has no Searcher and just relying on luck basically is, you know, it's something refreshing. So I take that as a win if you play a deck like that. It also wins the grind games. So if you are just gonna be patient, if you're gonna be smart with your resources, you can just do, you know, you can just win. You can just remove the board, slowly build up your board, and then eventually swing wide with all the big bosses that you have on your board. So if that's your style, then you know this is the perfect deck for you. Let's go over to the weaknesses. So it is a very bricky deck. What I mean by bricky is there are going to be times where you're just going to be drawing a lot of your big bosses, so a lot of your late game cards, and most of those cards doesn't have any counter. So just be very careful with how you manage your hand, your counters. As you can see, if you just go back to the deck list in here, I do have a couple of 2K counters. So there's 3 Suru, 3 Sasaki, that's 6, 4 of the Who's Who, that's 10, and then the Sanjis, that's 14. So 14 2K counters is it's not bad for a removal deck, but some of those 2K counters have their own role as well. So you might use them as a blocker, you might use them as a removal, you might use them as a minus cost. So you just need to be very careful with how you handle your hand size and your counters. It is very stage reliant. I've played so many games where the sim just doesn't want to give me the stage, the Onigashima stage, and it's so hard to win against decks who are like really fast, who are the same as like control decks as well. And yeah, it's just very hard. So if you don't find your Onigashima, most of the time you will struggle to the point that, you know, you might as well just lose. But it's not impossible to win as well. So yeah, so I think playing this deck still have some sort of skills that or knowledge of the game as well. So if you don't have the stage, then you know, knowledge, experience, and skills is where it comes to. Yep. So for life leader, it's yeah, for life leader. I know it's such a very hard I guess deck to protect while you try to do what you want to do with this deck. Like I said earlier, there are cards here that are 2k counters, but they do specific role for your deck, so for this deck to run. And yeah, you just gotta protect your life as well, mainly because you're gonna be dropping the 10 Koskuzan, so you want to prepare for your Tendon turn, and you gotta counter as much as you can before you get to 10 Tendons. So again, for life leader, it's kind of hard to manage everything, so it just comes in experience, I guess. Loses to aggro, so just going back into my last point, it loses to aggro because you need a lot of counters. If you just take too many hits, then you know you only have 4 lives, and that's not very much. Playing against red is such a hard matchup. So if your locals is running a lot of red decks, then you might have to consider playing this deck. So yeah, if this is your playstyle, then yeah, please feel free to watch the rest of the video. Okay, so we'll start off with the opening hand. So obviously you would always mulligan for the stage. The stage is one of the engine that you have for this deck to run. And like I said, if you don't have this one, then the odds on you winning the game is very low. You obviously want to get a searcher as well, but this is mostly a second priority into your opening hand. If you don't have the stage, then having one of these searchers, or like having 2 searchers, would be nice, so you can cycle through your deck and hopefully search your stage. But you need to be very careful because most of your big bosses are not searchable. So if you don't see your stage, or you know they're in the same 5 cards that you drew, then you're gonna be bottom decking your boss cards. These boss cards here are the ones that's gonna make you win the game, so you just gotta be very careful. You just gotta probably do some maths in your head. If you drew in let's say twice already, if you did 2 searches already and you haven't seen any of these cards on the screen right now, then most likely they are very close into your deck, like on your top deck. So if you have another searcher, don't use that searcher, because you're most likely just gonna bottom deck this big boss, or like the big cards of the late game cards that you are gonna be needing for your late game. Excuse me, sorry, I'm still a bit sick, so please bear with me while I try to clear my throat. Okay, so let's talk about your odd curve, right? So the ideal hand again is you have a stage and you have a searcher. Let's say you didn't find the stage, you can search them up using one of your searcher. You play the stage. It's up to you if you want to swing on your second turn, and then you play the stage. that would get you into 6 dawns next turn. Now, the 6 dawn curve, you can play either the Brook, the Sabo, or the Queen. I like to play the Brook, that's why I put in the Brook into this deck. It's just because you get to trash your opponent's character, and most of the time by turn 3 they don't have anything that's kind of like more than 4 costs. So having that curve into the odd curve is a really good play, because you are removing a body from the board, and then you do have a 6k body that they have to deal with next turn. You can just attach 1 dawn into it, and you can swing 7, and that would at least take 2 cards off their hand if they want to counter. Sabo and Queen, they pretty much do the same thing. They are card filters, and they also act as a blocker. So it really depends on what the board state is. So yeah, ideally these are the ones that you want to drop on your curve. Then you use the Onigashima Island again to your stage, and then you'll start your turn 4 with 9 dawns. So 9 dawns, usually just drop the Jack, because they would still be struggling to catch up on you on your board. So you can easily remove one of their bodies using Jack, and I just see that there's a lot of potential here. So let's say you put in the Jack, you have the Brook, and then you have your leader swing as well. So if you have a negate card, let's say like a Suru or like an Ice Age, that's basically 2 bodies that you remove that they try to play from their turn from their first 2 to 3 turns. And having Jack and having Brook, a 6k and an 8k body, it looks pretty scary. It doesn't look good from your opponent's point of view. And then from there, you just drop your Kozan. So that's the odd curve. So that's if you're going first. Now let's go to the even curve, which is what I like. This is my preference. So for the past few days, I've been trying the odd curve, but I feel like the even curve is the better curve for King. So again, the same thing. The first 2 turns, you just search, you play Onigashima, and then you start with 7 dawns. Right, 7 dawns gets you to play Jack on your 3rd turn. Now, having Jack, you can pretty much remove one of their body. But yeah, it's just like I feel like it's too fast for them. So this is the better curve compared to the other. Like if you compare the 2, so I feel like if you win the dice roll, you should take the even curve. And also it takes a lot of momentum out of like other decks. For example, like Karakuri, they want to go into the even curve because of the 10 moms, the 7 moms. The Karakuri, if they still play Karakuri into the 8-cost Karakuri, if they still play that one. Yeah, a lot of decks likes to go even. So if you have a choice, please try to play even. Sorry, 2nd turn. And then from there you just ramp again, and you start with 10 dawns. So on your turn 4, you can just choose whatever big bodies you have on your hand. If you have the Kuzan, then your Jack is pretty much just gonna be on steroids. It's so easy to do the Jack ability once you have the Kuzan on your board, because everything is going to be -5. and then you can always use your leader abilities so to either draw or to -2 another card or another body on the board, but that's highly unlikely because they wouldn't be able to catch up with you if you have 10 dawns already by turn 4. So yeah, so that's just basically the roadmap for doing the second turn, and we'll just do the combos here as well. So playing the Ice Age and the Rush Kaido can pretty much KO anything on the board, except if you have Jack, because Jack is always 11, I believe. He's always 11 cost. Oh, actually, no. You can still KO Jack with Kaido. So you pretty much just KO anything on the board. Or if you play Ice Age and the new 9 cost Lin Lin, you can pretty much just put anything into life. So for those of you who doesn't know what the new Lin Lin does, is she can put any card from your opponent's board and then put it into their life. So either the top or the bottom pile of their life. Also, again, the Kuzan and leader combo. You can just basically just KO anything with this combo here. It's so good because Kuzan is already -5, and if you do your leader ability, if you just like attach 2 dawn into your leader, or like 2 dawns into one of your characters on the board, then you can use your leader ability and then -2 something. For example, like you -2 a 10 cost Big Mom, right? So that's a -7 along with the 10 cost Kuzan already, and you can just pretty much just KO the 10 cost Big Mom using Jack, and that's just like one of my favorite combo using this deck. Also, you can do the the leader ability and the 6 cost Sanji blocker. So this one is mostly for the late game. So if you guys are both on 10 costs, then you can just use your leader ability, and then you make sure you do have 3 dawns to spare, and you can just play your Sanji blocker, because Sanji he's 3 dawns. He costs 3 dawns to play if you have 2 or less dawns than your opponent. So yeah, so those are just like pretty clutch combos that you can do towards the late game. Right, so cards to consider. So we'll start off with the blockers. So these are the blockers that you can try and play with, or substitute other blockers on the deck. Rebecca, we all know what Rebecca does. Like, you can just grab any black card that are like 3 to 7, cost 3 to 7 from the trash, and just play like a 3 cost body on the field. But I don't really have anything to play. That's why I didn't put Rebecca. So I feel like, yes, the ability to grab another 2k counter from your trash is really good, but at the same time I feel like you're not really using the full potential of Rebecca, because you're not able to play anything on that same turn. And plus, all of these blockers here as well, they are not searchable by your search cards. That's why I didn't put them in the deck. Borsellino is one of the best blocker in the game, since OP02. I did play around with him back then. He is like one of my blockers when I first created this deck, but I feel like I'm not. Yeah, I feel like he's not that worth if you are not playing against a black deck. So he's very optional for me. That's why I drop him off, and I just use Queen anyway as my main blocker. Shiki as well. So Shiki and War, they're pretty much the same cards. So let's talk about Shiki first. So Shiki's ability is only on play. So if you do have 8 or more Dawns, you draw one and then you trash one. Whereas with Wire, you can do the same effect every time you return a Dawn. So let's say you're in the late game, you drop this Wire, you do your leader ability, you draw one, you trash one, and yeah, so that will just help you dig through more cards that you need towards towards your lethal stage. So it's something that I would be considering to play in the future if I feel like my hand or like the deck is just pretty bricky. But I'm very comfortable with how I constructed my deck at the moment, so I don't want to play around with those ratio that I have. Useless Kid, again, you can use the ability with your leader and then you'll just gain 1 active Dawn after you do your leader ability. And Trafalgar Law, and yeah, so again, like what I said, a lot of decks are playing like massive hand size. If you just drop this Law, even in the early stage of the game, then you get your money's worth. That's why I put him in there. So here are the ramp cards as well. I like to see these cards if I don't have Onigashima or the stage on my hand, or like throughout the whole game in general. Yeah, so I don't really feel comfortable playing with this. I tried the new Charlotte Brulé blocker. She's really nice. Like it can buy you 1 turn, but I don't feel like it's necessary once you have the stage anyway. So that's why I drop her. So yeah, Miss All Sunday as well. She's really good, but the only problem that I have with her is she doesn't have any counter. So that's why I drop her from my deck as well. The event cards as well. They come into the STO4 starter deck. That's why most of you may not have access to this one, so that's why I didn't put it into my main deck. And the new it's is to die for event as well. Don't feel like don't feel like you get your money's worth by playing this one, because it's a 3 Dawn. It's kind of expensive, and in exchange for 1 Dawn, or maybe possibly 2 if your opponent has a 6k power or more in their board. So yeah, but if you don't have everything in my list, then you can just substitute any of these cards on your deck. But yeah, removal and reduce cost cards in this deck that can possibly work. Let's start with Sakazuki first. So Sakazuki, he might be good into the odd curve. So when you use the odd curve, you on your turn 3, then you do have 6 Dawns, so you can use Sakazuki as one of your main removal. But the issue is with this one is you need to trash one of your card on your hand. That's why I don't really like Sakazuki that much. Plus he doesn't have any counter as well. That's why I put in Brook instead of this one. Speaking of Brook is a 3 cost with a counter. On paper, he's really good, but I feel like having to attach one Dawn just to swing and get a good value out of this card here. Just to make sure that he's not just a remove like a minus cost card on your field. It's just too much for me. Sometimes you would only have like one Dawn to play around, and I would rather use that one Dawn to swing 6k rather than swing 5k, because most of the time I'm gonna be having all the minus cost that I need if I drop the 10 cost Kazan. Speaking of Kazan, we do have the 4 cost Kazan in here. It lets you draw a card when you play it, but the problem with this one is it doesn't have any counter. Rob Lucci has been a staple for most of the black decks, but a lot of the times you wouldn't have any any combination of a 2 cost and a 1 cost on your field, even with the 10 cost Kazan. So it's very hard for me to use him. That's why I didn't put him into my deck. Paulie, he is basically a 7 Dawn turn card, because you need to have at least 2 Dawns active to use his on play ability, and he only pops a 4 cost or less. Kamazo is a 2k counter. He's very interesting as well, but I feel like dropping a Kamazo like a 2k counter into my field and use it as a removal card. I feel like the 2k could be used to counter rather than to remove, because you're going to be playing a lot of removal cards anyway towards the late game. So that's why, yeah. But he can work. I'm pretty sure people know how to use this Kamazo. So, and if you're playing against someone who doesn't have any removal, then yeah, this could actually work. And lastly, the King. So I've tried around with the King again. He is a odd curve card, but having the Dawn -1 doesn't feel right for me, because my goal is to get to 10 Dawns as fast as I can, as less turn as I can, because you want to drop the 10 cost Kuzan and you want to use your leader ability. So you just want to loop into that, either drawing a card or minusing 2 costs into one of the opponent's card. Okay, the mid to late game cards. Let's talk about the Kaido and Linlin. So I feel like the Kaido and Linlin card is such a good card, but it comes in with I guess a great consequences as well. So if your opponent sees this, they know that their board is gonna get wiped anyway, so they are gonna swing even with their blockers. If you manage to use this one and drop it, by all means you get the value out of this card. But most of the time I feel like it's too slow. That's why I removed this one. Plus it's gonna be removing your board as well. So let's say you do have the 10 cost Kuzan, and that's basically the engine of your deck. It's gonna get removed for a board wipe and a life and a swing for 12k and a -1 life for your opponent. But at the end of the day, it's your preference, it's your style preference. So for me, it's too slow. That's why I opted it out into my deck. Same with the Kaido, the new 9 cost Kaido as well. The only thing I hate about this card is you have to discard 1 card, right? You have to discard 1 card, so but it gets to remove like a 7 cost. So 7 cost is such a good like, you know, it's such a high cost card, and it's very easy to get a card into 7 costs. So yeah, that's just like my only caveat into this one is I don't like discarding cards off my hand. um the 10 cost Kaido as well, the old board wipe 10 cost Kaido, again it will be the same thing as the Kaido in Linlin. I just don't like the board wipe in here. King, 7 cost 8k swing. It's got a rush. I don't like the -1 Dawn, and for an 8k swing, I feel like that's not the playstyle that I'll be happy to do, because I just want to remove as many cards as I can off my opponent's board. Even though Rush is a very good card, or like a very good effect to have into black and purple, it's just like yeah, I just don't like, yeah, that one. Echoes Moria, you know, like a lot of people will be thinking why I don't have an Echoes Gecko Moria. Even though Gecko Moria is the staple for black decks, the reason is I don't have any 2 cost cards into my deck. That's why I don't feel comfortable playing the Gecko Moria. I don't feel like I'll get my money's worth. That's why I don't play the Gecko Moria. Um, Captain Kid. Captain Kid is a very good card. The only thing I don't like about this one is the -1 again. So my aim is to be as fast as I can, and if I drop this one into my 3rd turn, and that means that I have to wait another turn for me to drop the 10 cost Kazan. Event cards, these are some of the event cards that you can play as well. There's a new card coming out called Hakai Ocean Sovereignty. So this card is really good. It's really good for purple decks, but if you have like a combination of black and a removal deck, then you don't really need this one. So mostly this new card is used for blue decks, because blue decks, they like to swarm the board with like low cost cards, and having this Hakai Ocean Sovereignty is, you know, is kind of like a gravity blade for purple decks, but you get to -2 down as well. So that's another thing that I hate about. That's why I didn't put this one. Ship's Horn. This is a good closer for your deck, and it's also searchable because it has the Animal Kingdom Pirates into its type. And yeah, Thunder Bagua, it's got a 4k power addition into your leader, so it will save you like about 2 cards off your hand, 2k counters on your hand on the late game. But I always find myself not having a Dawn available towards the end of my turn, because I'm playing a lot of big bodies, so I don't really have any room for this one. Noro Beam. This card is actually pretty interesting because you can give your opponent to -2000 power for the turn, so it's just like a very good counter in general. So yeah, it's up to you guys if you like to add this one into your deck, so you can get, you know, you can be a little bit more defensive. And that's it for me. So that's just the end of this class. So I hope you guys learned something. I'm not gonna play and test out this deck because I already have 2 videos of me playing it, and I showed you guys how well it is in like the meta. So if you guys like that one, please make sure to like and subscribe. We're gonna be dropping more decks, like fun decks to play, and yeah, I hope to see you guys into my next video, and I hope you guys like that. So if you learn something in this video, just comment down below. Comment down below what you learned. Comment down what tips or tricks that you want to share as well, or how you would try and tweak my deck. But yeah, I hope everyone had a great time watching this video. I hope everyone learned a thing or two. And for those people who waited for me to drop the deck list, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you so much for waiting and um, constantly commenting and waiting for my videos to drop, and just supporting me. And I really appreciate it because for the past few days I've been moving houses, but I kind of settled down now and I can start making videos. So with that being said, I hope you guys do well on your locals once OP08 release. And yeah, I will see you guys into the next video. Bye.